Good morning. This is KROJ 101.5 FM, Platicando, Mejorando. This is Sandy Logan. I have some very special guests here in the studio with me today. Ladies, Kim, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Kim Kastreliovich. I'm here with a colleague, and we're from the Los Angeles Civil Rights Department.
Good morning, Lily.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Lillian, and I'm also from the Civil Rights Department. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being on the show this morning, ladies. Tell me a little bit about what is the LA Civil Rights Department?
Yeah, so the LA Civil Rights Department is a brand new city department that was just started in 2020. And it was started for many different reasons, but one of the reasons, and what Lillian and I work on and are passionate about, is the fact that Angelenos can't always get justice when their civil rights are violated. So our department was started to be another place that Angelenos can go. They can file a complaint, they can let us know what's going on, and we can try to investigate and bring a little justice to Angelenos.
So, what is human rights law?
So the civil and human rights law is the ordinance or the city level law that was passed in 2019 and 2020 that gave us the power to investigate complaints of civil rights violations and to actually bring and file cases on behalf of Angelenos. Under the civil rights law, we have a team of 5 investigators, which Lillian supervises. And when somebody comes to us with a complaint, those investigators are going to hit the pavement, start investigating. They're going to issue subpoenas, which is the power we have under that ordinance. They're going to get video, they're going to get documents, they're going to interview witnesses, they're going to leave no stone unturned. And if we find that that business or that landlord or that school violated an Angelino's civil rights, then we can actually file what is an administrative citation. It's kind of like a big ticket, but it includes fines and fees that go up to $250,000. And some portion of that does go back to the person who complained, right? We give some of that money back to the complainant for coming forward. And it's really important to note, Sandy, that one of the things in the civil and human rights law or ordinance says that we can only bring cases in the private sector. So unfortunately, we can't help folks if they've got a complaint against, the police, the sheriff's department, LAUSD, something like that. We're going to make sure they know where to go, but we aren't the ones that can help. But if people have complaints they want to file in the private sector, so any place you're doing your shopping, you're getting your hair done, you're out and about, buying things, that's all private sector or private schools or private landlords, right? Most people rent from a private individual or landlord. All of those types of cases, we can take those, we can investigate them, and we will see what's going on and make sure someone's civil rights haven't been violated.
So, does that include like charter schools? Or are they considered businesses?
So charter schools are a form of an LAUSD kind of school. There are also different types of charter schools. There are affiliated charters and unaffiliated charters. So if let's say somebody goes to an unaffiliated charter school, it might be in a gray area. It might be worth coming to us so that we can dig in a little deeper and see. But most charter schools are not things that we will be able to look into. As far as private schools, though, people always just think of your typical private school, but that does include most daycares and preschools are private entities. I mean, it also includes private for-profit colleges like ITT Tech or American Career College. Those types of institutions would all fall under our jurisdiction.
That's all great information. Thank you so much. Can you share some examples of what kind of discrimination claims people have made?
Thank you, Sandy. Yes, discrimination. So the examples that some of the cases that our investigators have either successfully conciliated or just become involved and made this situation better for the complainant has been, for example, an employee who works at a grocery store and asks their manager for documents related to their employment in Spanish. And as a result of that, the supervisor, the manager, essentially gave them an unfavorable schedule after that. For example, like a night shift or something like that when they originally had a day shift. Another example has been where there's been a new ownership to a housing property, and the new owner has issued a $1,000 rent increase to a resident, an existing resident who happened to be their citizenship status wasn't that they were a US citizen. So these are the kind of things that the one that we see very often as well is when someone walks into a grocery store and they're asked to leave their bag or their backpack at the front, whereas other shoppers aren't asked to do the same thing. So this kind of either negative treatment where someone else is being showed preferential treatment are the sorts of things that we see.
Wow, so like that backpack case that you were sharing with us, let me see, I'd love to hear a little bit about both cases, but for example, the one with the backpack, how long did that take to be able to work and find out and investigate the information and the outcome for that case?
So that case actually took approximately 1 year from the day the complaint walked in the door to, in that case, the time we actually filed a case on behalf of that complainant. And we're now in the process of collecting the fines and fees we assessed. So in that case, it involved a location of this grocery store chain. The shopper who came in was African American. He was told to leave his bag at the front of the store while he shopped. He actually went home and left his bag there and came back, but had the foresight, the good thinking to walk around the store and take pictures of other shoppers who were allowed to keep their bags and backpacks, and they were not African American. And in that case, we issued a $10,000 fine to they're in the process of paying. And like we said, a portion of that will go to the complainant. Complaints usually they can take much less time than a year, but it all depends, Sandy, on how much the what we call the respondent, right? The business, the landlord, how much are they fighting us? Are they making us issue subpoenas? Are they making us, push hard again and again and again to get the information, or are they cooperating? But when they are resistant to us, we're looking at about 1 year from the time it walks in to the time we file a case.
Wow, that's not much time at all if you think about it, to go through the process and to be able to get help on the spot. And in regards to the one with the landlord situation, I mean, I'm assuming you may be hearing more and more of that nowadays.
Yes, we are. Housing complaints are one of our more common complaints. And although we do have a limited jurisdiction under housing because we are obligated to send a lot of our complaints to the state agency, because we are a newer department, our investigators are able to give the complainant kind of a quicker reaction by becoming involved in their situation while they wait for the state to kind of go through their process and become involved in the situation. So in that specific situation, our investigator just simply made phone calls, called the landlord and asked questions about why this person was getting $1,000 rent increase. And after the landlord knowing that we were kind of looking at the situation, they pretty much rescinded the rent increase and said that it was just kind of a mistake. So the tenant was able to pay what she had normally been paying without, fear of losing her housing. And we were able to immediately resolve that for her.
What a fantastic story. I'm so glad that you guys were there to help this family that was going through that. Who is like the program's like target audience? Do you have a target audience that you're focusing on?
I think the target audience is really just Angelinos. The way that our ordinance works is that you don't have to actually live in the city of Los Angeles, but whatever discrimination happened or you feel like happened, that has to have occurred within the city. So as long as the unfair treatment happened within the city, we're here for anybody who has been treated unfairly. Lillian and I talk a lot about how, sometimes it can be just a small slight or a little thing that people kind of get used to living with, right? Sometimes people get used to living with these daily indignities. And it could be something based on, the language someone speaks, the color of their skin, what somebody thinks their gender or sexuality might or might not be. Could be so many of those things, and you just kind of get used to living with being treated unfairly. But we don't think that's right, and we don't think any act of discrimination is too small, because we think that even those small acts have a large impact on an individual and on a community. So we're really here for anybody who feels like, hey, I've been treated unfairly and I've been wronged.
Well, ladies, I love this conversation. We need to take a quick music break. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Pueblo y Salud's Platicando y Mejorando, an inspiring program that promotes the health and well-being of our community through intellectual, physical, economical, political, and spiritual discussions with experts and leaders in these fields. Están escuchando Platicando y Mejorando, un programa inspirador que promueve la salud y el bienestar de nuestra comunidad a través de discusiones de lo intelectual, físico, económico, político y espiritual con expertos y líderes en estos campos.
Welcome back with Platicando Mejorando. This is Sandy Logan. Again, I have two very fantastic ladies here, Lillian and Kim from LA City Rights, a very new department here in the city of Los Angeles that's super important and needed in our community. An opportunity for, those things that happen to us in stores or businesses, and we're just kind of like, that's not right. But who do we talk to, right? So I am so grateful to have you guys on our show today and talking about where, what you do, how you can help the community, and how to make things right and have people understand that they can't just treat us wrong for whatever reason, whatever their personal reasons are. That's not allowed here in the city of Los Angeles. And I think it's really important, especially with everything we've been through in the last few years. Can you describe a little bit of the process from the moment I submit a complaint to the end of an investigation?
Sure, Sandy, I'll talk about that. So there's many ways to get a hold of us. One of the ways is through our website. Our website has a web form that a visitor can fill out, either an inquiry form or a complaint form. An inquiry is if you kind of just have questions, you're not really sure what's going on, you're not really sure what you're experiencing, and you just want to talk to someone about it, you can fill that inquiry form out. There's also the complaint form, which you're, initiating a complaint, you feel like you've been wronged, and you want to talk to an investigator about it. Both forms will connect you to our staff, who would then contact you via phone and get some additional information from you, a few questions before you are assigned to an investigator. People can also call our line as well, our office line. Everyone who picks up will be able to direct you to one of our intake staff and be connected to an investigator through that as well. We get emails, to our general inbox, and then also physical letters. We also have the option of showing up in person. We do take walk-ins. So generally the process is you talk to an intake person who just asks you very general questions about what happened, and that gets then pushed to our unit, and you're assigned to an investigator. That process takes at the moment, about a day or two. Like I said, as a new department, our caseload is light, so we're able to kind of get in contact with callers immediately, almost. So 1 to 2 days, and the investigator contacts you, and they'll do kind of an interview over the phone. In person is also available, and they'll just get as much information from you as possible, and that information is then assessed by them, by me, by us as a team, and to see if your complaint, it falls within our jurisdiction. If it does, then it moves into investigations. That happens within a few days as well. If it doesn't fall within our jurisdiction, our investigator kind of guides you through who the right agency is, connects you with them, or what kind of referral you need, and gives you that information. So the whole process from like start to finish, let's say, from the initial call to initiating a complaint can take, I would say, within the week, just, within 1 to 3, 4 days.
Wow, that's fantastic. So it doesn't take that long, and it helps, you are there to help process this information with a community member that's sharing their experience with you. And I love that you guide them. If this is not in your wheelhouse, that you'll guide them to somebody else who can do that. Can you share, you mentioned the website. Can you go ahead and share that information for me so listeners who can share that?
Yes, thank you. Our website is laisforeveryone.com. So if you go to laisforeveryone.com, like Lillian said, you'll see a little box there that says file a complaint. You can click on that and it'll get you going. If you want to call us, our number is 213-978-1845. 213-978-1845. And we do have interpretation services. So we have investigators who speak Spanish, like Lillian and other members of our staff, so they can work directly with our Spanish-speaking community. But if there is other languages that folks want to come to us with that they're more comfortable in, our complaint form online is in 81 different languages. And if we see your complaint come through in a language that we do not have a staff member who speaks that language, we'll make sure that when our investigator calls, they have a translator on the line, so that folks can feel as comfortable as possible expressing whatever it is they've gone through.
That's fantastic. I love that you have it in 81 languages, especially here in LA. We're a melting pot. We're a little bit of everybody from all over the world, which makes LA beautiful. So tell me a little bit, is this complaint confidential or is it public record?
So the complaints, when they come to us, Sandy, are initially confidential to a degree. We have to, at a certain point, tell the other party who the complainant is, because we have to tell them what the situation is in order to interview them and get the information about it. But we won't just turn over the complaint or that kind of information to just anybody, as long as it's in an investigation process. If we do decide to file a case, then the case does become public. And we can talk to a complainant at that point about if there are safety concerns or privacy concerns. We'll do everything we can to help folks out there. But it does become public when we file a case, just like any kind of legal case that you would file in any court in California.
That's good to know. Now, I have to ask, is there a cost for our residents to use your service?
There is no cost. There is no cost. This is a free service for everyone, regardless of their background. We would just really like people to contact us so they can use this service, and that's why we exist, is for them, but there is no cost.
Well, that's music to my ears, especially nowadays when everything's so expensive. And sometimes when you want to file a complaint, you don't have the funding to help support and hire somebody to, do what's best for us, right? Because they want money up front and we don't have that for those funds.
Yeah, we really believe that justice should not be limited to those who can afford a lawyer, right? So that's why we're here. That we're, like Lillian said, we're a free service, and we're here to fill that gap, so that even if you can't maybe afford somebody's hourly wage as an attorney, you can still come to us and we'll take your case.
Love it, love it. Is there a criteria for somebody to be fulfilled before we start this process?
So we have a few kind of basic criteria that somebody has to meet in order for us to take their case. The first one is that whatever happened, whatever the incident was, it has to have happened within the city of Los Angeles. The second one is that it has to be, like I said earlier, in the private sector. So we can't bring cases against the city, LAUSD, Sheriff's Department, LAPD, none of those. It has to be a private entity, and we can help complainants figure that out. And then the third thing is that it needs to have happened within the last 3 years. So, if it's something getting older than that, we just can't bring those. It's beyond our ability in those cases. So as long as the incident happened in the city, it's concerning a private entity, not like a public government agency, and it happened within the last 3 years, then it's something we can look into.
Do people have to be a citizen of the United States to be able to apply?
No, they don't. And that's actually a question that we don't ask at all, and we don't keep that information either. So it's not a requirement, and it's not part of any of the forms that we ask them to sign or review. So no.
Well, my next question, I think you've already answered for me, because that you have all 81 languages available for our communities to be able to process and apply and make their complaints. But I was wondering what neighborhoods are part of the city of Los Angeles?
City of Los Angeles is huge. It stretches all the way up as far as like Granada Hills and, all the way down to Terminal Island, and there's some cities cut out in between. So hopefully, most people know if they live within the city of Los Angeles. And if not, it's a quick Google away, or give us a call and we'll look at our official maps and we'll let people know, hey, you are within the city. Or because of the way the city is cut out, sometimes they call us and we say, oh, you are in the city, but good thing, because across the street is not in the city. But we'll figure that out for you. We'll let folks know. We do cover a really wide area.
Now, I'm going to have to ask you, ladies, is there a success story that your program has done and that you're really proud of?
So the case we talked about earlier, again, I think we're very proud of that case. That's one of the first cases that we've actually filed and brought through the official legal system. Lillian gave some great examples of cases where our investigators were just really able to get involved and correct the situation before we had to bring a legal case. And we're really proud of those too. We recently had a case, involving a private school where some students felt like they were facing discrimination. Our investigator got involved. She looked into it. She really spent a long time building relationships with the parents in the community and some of the students. And at the end of the day, in that case, the school really stepped up, embraced the opportunity, and made some significant changes based on the information that we were giving them from complainants. So we were really proud of that. And then we felt even better about it when a couple days after we closed the case, we got an email letting us know that additional students had gone up to the complainant and said, thank you for speaking up. Thank you for coming forward. We felt afraid. We felt discriminated against. But because of what you did, we feel so much better about being in this school and in this place now. So every time we have a case like that, every time something gets resolved, it really, it makes us feel good. Our motto is that LA is for all. And we truly believe that. And we truly believe that each one of these cases, even when we don't file a legal case, does make LA a better place for everyone.
I love it. I love it, because I think it's important for all of us to feel united, safe, and being able to be treated with respect throughout our communities. What has been the most rewarding aspect of your work?
I'll start, Sandy. For me, the majority of my career has been working closely with complainants, with these people who come to us for help. So the most rewarding part of my job has been being in a position to resolve or alleviate something that's been so stressful in their life, something that these people have partners, they have families, they have children. So it's impacting a lot of people in their universe because they're at risk of losing their housing, or there's an issue with their employment, and those things can be extremely stressful. And so it's been very rewarding to know that I have the privilege to help them live a life that is free from that danger. And that's been the most rewarding part.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being on the show with us. I really want to give out more information. Can you give us your phone number again and your email and your website address?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Sandy. It's been really a pleasure to be here with you today. Our website, again, for everyone is laisforeveryone.com. And our phone number is 213-978-1845. It's 213-978-1845, or go to laisforeveryone.com. Also, if you Google the Los Angeles Civil Rights Department, you should be able to find us there.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being on the show with us, and we'll be talking soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.